Hello, and welcome back to the Average Dad Cooking Channel, brought to you by your host, me, an Average Dad. So today we're going to be making a lasagna, but not just any lasagna. It's going to be a lasagna for an organization called Lasagna Love. This organization is a pretty cool organization. It's kind of like a movement. It was founded in 2020, and their mission is pretty simple. They want to feed families, they want to strengthen the community, and they want to spread kindness. When I heard about this organization, I looked it up right away, and I knew right away this is something that I wanted to be involved in. I'm going to go into more information later on in the video towards the end about what exactly they do, how many families they fed, things like that. Kind of give you a brief overview of what exactly they do right away. So you can go online, and I'll have this linked in the description below, along with all of the ingredients that I'm using today. But if you go online, you can go to lasagnalove.org, and you're able to sign up to be a chef. It's pretty cool. You get to make a lasagna. You can do it as often as you want. If you want to do it once, you want to do it bi-weekly, you want to do it once a week, you want to do it monthly. That's what I personally do. They have all those options. They are throughout America and a couple other places, and I'll get into that more a little bit later. But today, we're going to be making a lasagna that's not going to be my typical lasagna. And I'm actually going to do a follow-up video on this next week about the lasagna that I typically make. And it's not going to be completely different, but the person that signed up for this one is a mom. She's a single mom with 2 kids. So she says her kids are a little bit picky, and they like cottage cheese instead of ricotta, things like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get that done for her. But so right away, we're going to go over the ingredients, what I got all laid out here. As you can see, we got some freshly chopped onion, some freshly chopped parsley. I do have freshly grated cheddar, freshly grated provolone, and mozzarella. It's 8 ounces of each. I do have some Parmesan that's finely shredded. I didn't freshly grate this. I couldn't find a block that I wanted at my store, so we're just going with this. This is going to be fine. We got the oven ready no boil noodles. I prefer that. It just makes it a little bit easier. Lasagna is really not the easiest thing to cook, so whatever makes it a little bit easier, I kind of like. We got a little oil that's going to go in right away when we saute these vegetables. We do have some cottage cheese, like I mentioned earlier. We got 22 ounces. I have an egg. I have Rayo's Marinara, because I don't always make my own sauce like I did with my venison spaghetti. You can check that out right up here. Got a link to that right up here. But for this one, we're going to use Rayo's. Rayo's is delicious. I mean, they're pretty macro friendly when it really comes down to it. They have good flavors, and honestly, when I don't make my own, Rayo's is the way to go. And then for the seasonings, I do have some minced garlic, some Italian seasoning, some pepper, some garlic powder. We got salt. And we got onion powder. Now, I'm going to go light on this because, again, this isn't for my family. This isn't for me. This is for somebody else. Now, I do still want there to be flavor. I don't want it to be completely flavorless, because she said her kids weren't like the pickiest eaters, but regardless, we are going to hold back. We're going to do less than we normally do, but don't you worry. Next week, make sure you sub, make sure you like the video, make sure you comment down below. But next week, we're going to be making the lasagna that I typically make. So, and then last but not least, I have a 9x13 pan. We went with the disposable one because, again, it's not for me. So, and we also, of course, have a pound of ground beef and a pound of Italian-style premium pork sausage. I like to put the sausage and the beef together. I think it really makes a good flavor for the lasagna, things like that. So we're going to go wash our hands. Again, this isn't for me, so I need to be able to really make sure that the things that I'm working with are clean. My hands stay clean throughout this process. I washed them, made sure everything right here, made sure all of this was clean beforehand. I'm going to go wash my hands. I'll meet you guys right over here and I'll show you what we're going to do next. I got my hands all washed up and we're ready to go on the next step here. I've had this pot on. I put a little bit of oil over a medium-high heat. Let the oil get kind of hot, and then we're going to put the onions in right away. This is going to ensure that the littles really aren't going to taste it. Get them fried up, nice and sauteed. Get some color on them. Alright, got a little parsley in there too, that's okay. So I'm going to let these get some color, and then we will come back when I go ahead and add the meat. So, see, these are already starting to get a little bit of color, so I'm actually going to add a little bit of garlic right away too. Just some minced garlic. You can do fresh garlic. I kind of like this little jar. Keep it on hand all times. Goes in a lot of our, a lot of different things that we make. Really like garlic. Garlic really brings out the flavor in a lot of things in my mind, and most people who eat my food don't tend to disagree. So, I'll show you a quick little spot of this. That's starting to get some color there. So, just a little bit longer. Smells delicious, and we will get the meat on, and we'll be back. Okay, this is really what we're looking for here. That nice little color on them. We're going to add the meat now, and we'll get back going to that. Alright, so I got the ground beef over here. You got a pound of that. Got a pound of the Italian pork sausage. Gonna add that. Gonna kind of chop it up with the spatula. These are nice and thawed. They've been sitting out for a little while. Help with the cooking of them. So we're gonna get these all mixed up. We're gonna get this meat cooked down. We're gonna add some seasoning here really soon. And then we'll add the Raos. Bring you back when we get a little bit further here. To bring you back for me adding some of the seasoning. Like I said, I am making this for someone else, so I'm not going to add as much as I normally do, but we do still have 2 pounds of meat. We got onions. We got 2 jars of Raos going in here. I mean, we got cheese, so we still want the flavors of this stuff to come through. I'm adding a lot of this because it's Italian seasoning. It's pretty much got all of the stuff that I want to add to it, but I'm also going to add just a little bit of onion powder. Even though we have onions, I think it makes it taste good. A little more garlic powder, because again, I like the garlic. Most people don't tend to disagree. We're going to go kind of light on the pepper. I don't want it to be spicy at all. And then of course some salt. You know, I know pepper is not exactly a heat source for most people, but I know my kids don't exactly. My one son won't eat anything with pepper on it, so if I have pepper, it's really got to be mixed in or kind of make his separate, you know. So for this one, we don't know how our kids are going to be, so we're not going to add a lot of pepper. So I make sure that the meat is all nice and browned up here, which it is. We really want to make sure that we get it cooked all the way through with ground beef, ground pork sausage, things like that. Really want to make sure they get all the way cooked through and done in a safe eating temperature. Especially, like I said, it's not for meat. So this is really looking good. Maybe I can. So, got that. Smoke's kind of coming out, but it's kind of what we're looking for here. So we are going to add the marinara now, and I'll bring it back when we get going with that. Alright, we got that heated up. We're going to go ahead and add this Raos. And again, you know, I'm not gonna take away from making it all on your own. Making your own marinara, I think personally, always the way to go on things. But honestly, Rayo's, man, and I promise I don't have any kind of sponsorship or anything, not yet anyway, for them. But they're honestly, it's delicious. It's got a lot of great flavors. I'm not even gonna add any more seasoning after this. All I'm gonna do now is really just let this come to a boil, like a slow boil, soft boil, what have you. Then we're gonna turn it down, maybe let it sit for a little bit so it can, you know, absorb some of those flavors, and then we will bring you back over here for the layering process. So I do want to show you one more thing. That's why I didn't pre-do it. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take the cottage cheese. I'm gonna have an egg. I'm gonna have this parsley. I'm gonna toss it in. Typically I'd use ricotta. You'll see that next week, but it was specially requested to have the cottage cheese because her daughter really enjoys cottage cheese. So we're gonna make that work. So I'm gonna get the parsley, and I like to put the parsley right in either with the ricotta cheese or the cottage cheese, whatever you're deciding to do. And you get that nice and mixed up, and you get the egg nice and mixed up in there. All right, we got that ready. So now we're gonna layer it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add just a little bit of meat sauce to the bottom. As I mentioned in a previous video, you might have some commentary in the background. I am your average dad. I do have 3 kids, and it is the weekend, so they are home. We are all hanging out, making up this lasagna. We got the meat sauce. We're gonna hit it with some noodles. Again, I like the no boil noodles. Really just trying to get these as evenly as possible. A lot of times I end up having to break one apart for the last row, just to kind of get it to fit. Try not to have them overlap. This is where your boiled noodles would come in handy, but this is what we're gonna go with. So we got this, and we're gonna hit it with some provolone. Pro tip, leave your package, leave it outside your bowl, and you don't forget which is which. So we're gonna get some provolone. When this melts down, this is going to get them noodles and stuff nice and melted together. I like a lot of cheese, so does a lot of people. So after that, take a look at it here. That's what it's looking like. We're gonna add another little layer of meat sauce. With the no boil noodles, you wanna go heavy with the marinara. That's why I had 2. You know, you're gonna want that to leak through, get them wet, and get that flavor going. And I'm telling you guys, this is gonna be flavorful, even without what I would typically do with it. It's gonna be delicious. So, how's the weather hanging out by you guys? We've had very interesting weather here lately in Minnesota. Yesterday I was out golfing. Today we have snow flurries. So yeah, it's always fun. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what the weather's doing in your state. So we got the meat sauce here. We're then gonna hit it with a layer of mozzarella. I like to use all sorts of different cheeses. If that's not really your cup of cheese, get it? Then don't do that. Just go ahead and just use one. Just use cheddar. Just use your favorite. The great thing about lasagna is there's so many cool things that you can do with it. You got the mozzarella. We're gonna hit it with some Parmesan. Just kind of nice little small layer. Maybe fill in some of these holes. My son's doing his best to be quiet. Proud of him. So after we got this, get that nice and cheesed up, we're gonna hit it with a layer of cottage cheese. Now, I was watching online this week and I saw a video of how to do this with ricotta a little bit easier than what I'm about to do here. That's my baby. But we really just want to get a nice layer. That's going to get you that white layer that you typically see when you're eating a lasagna. I mean, obviously there's cheese too, but there's that, like, you know, the white layer. You know what I'm talking about. That's what this is right here. Oh. That's going to be a good layer. You can go lighter than that, and then you can double it if you want. I kind of usually just like to do just the one layer. So after that, we're going to go back with our noodles again. And I mean, and as I've said here, this is all about the layers. So if you remember that scene in Shrek when Shrek is explaining to Donkey what ogres are. Honestly, I don't know why he went with onions. He should have went with lasagna, because I mean, lasagna is a universal tongue. Everybody loves it. It's delicious. Donkey would have understood. So we got another layer of noodles. And then we're just going to come back through again. We're going to hit it with the meat sauce again. What's nice about this, you know, if you want to have lasagna and you're watching me and you're like, man, it's really taking a long time. You are correct. Lasagna is not exactly the absolute easiest thing to make. It is time consuming, but you can do this part that I'm doing right now the day before. I mean, and that can really save you some time if you got some time before, and then you can just pop it in the oven. You can do this in the morning if you got time. So, got that layer. We are just going to hit it with some cheddar cheese now. That would be my daughter now. She's playing in the background. So, what we're looking like so far, I mean, it's looking delicious. It's smelling delicious. We're going to hit it with that. We're going to hit it with some more Parmesan. We're going to do one more layer of noodles. A lot of people usually kind of skip through this process and don't really kind of speed it up and things like that, but I'm not going to do that this time, because personally I've always wanted to watch somebody just sit here and go through it and show me exactly what they're layering, when they're layering it, and to go through all of the steps. So that's what we're going to do. So we got our last layer of noodles. We're going to hit it with our last layer of meat sauce. And then what I like to do is kind of give them that flavor right at the end here of all of the cheeses, of the cheddar, of the mozzarella, provolone. And the Parmesan. Oh, the oven's almost preheated to 350, so I'm going to show you real quick what I like to do here. So we got two sides of this. We got the dollar side. We have the shiny side. You take the shiny side, take some cooking spray, and just spray it on there. That's going to stop the cheese from melting to your foil. So I have the oven set to 350 degrees. We are going to put this in with foil for 45 minutes. Okay, it's been 45 minutes. I just wanted to show you what it looks like now. Show you that it's just getting a little bit sticky, but not too bad. It's not quite done yet, as we can see, but this is what it's looking like after 45 minutes. Looking delicious. We're going to pop it back in, still at 350 for about another 15 to 20 minutes until the cheese is melted. And when that gets done, I will pop back in and show you that. All right. And this is what it's looking like. I mean, this looks delicious. Okay, so we're at the end of the meal here. Got everything all done. Got my hands washed. Don't worry about that. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to let this cool. We're going to do the same thing with the tin foil where we take the shiny side. We're going to spray a little bit of cooking oil on it, and we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to put this lid on it, and it's going to go from in here. And if you noticed, I cooked it with this on the bottom, and I highly suggest doing that. As many as you are probably in the same boat as I am, and you have to clean up everything that you just did. So I would suggest cooking it in a pan like this. As it cools down, we'll get it wrapped up. I'll get this on top of it, and then I use this, and it's we got to be creative here. I do this once a month. We have 3 cats, and they eat canned cat food out of this. You can see it's clean, it's sturdy. I get it in there, transfer it over, and I get it delivered. The last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to give you some facts about Lasagna Love that I actually got from the organization themselves when I reached out to them and asked them if I could even post this video to begin with. So some facts. So it started in 2020. They currently have 52,000 volunteers. They're in all 50 states in the U.S., including Puerto Rico, Australia, and Canada as well. And like I said, I'm going to have everything in the description below that can get you to either request a meal or to become a volunteer. I know in my local area, we only have about 6 people doing it. So while this is growing and spreading, we have all of these great people. If you can, I would highly suggest signing up, becoming a chef. This place is great. It's simple as this. I want to read you guys this because I think that it's pretty great. So it says, how does it work? And really, they have a global community of Lasagna Love volunteers. They prepare lasagnas each week and deliver them free of charge, and this is contact free. So if you're watching this and you also need help and you need a meal, do not be afraid to sign up. There's no guilt in needing some help sometimes, and this is what it's here for. You'll get it in your local community. So with all of that said, thank you for tuning in. If you've stuck around this long, please drop a subscription, give me a like, give me some comments on the video, let me know what you want to see next. Next week I'm going to be making the lasagna that I typically make, and then we're going to do a taste test with it. You'll be able to see what it looks like as I eat it, so that's going to be great. Make sure you stick around and make sure you click the little bell to get notified when that gets posted. Okay. Hope to see you soon.